$375,509. And then our total income was $500,095. The Lord was good. Yeah. Oh man, that's not the correct. Okay, sorry guys. It is supposed to be a 2020. The second number is 2025. So first number is 2024 budget. Like I said, was $383,047. For 2025, we're asking for a budget of $394,965. That's a 3.11% increase. With the way inflation's going, that's actually under inflation increase, but we believe that is a good use of the congregation's money. All right, excellent. And then here's an update on the building fund. Funds raised in 2024 was $127,760.61. And yeah, it's a good job. And then funds that were utilized, this was for, as you can see, there wasn't much. We had some architectural plans drawn up in January, and then expenses for the car show, and then money came back into the fund through that car show. So that was good. But here, sorry, go ahead, Donnie. We had come to you earlier to look at renovation options. If you remember or weren't here, a little recap. The rate of material prices and inflation and different things versus our raising of funds. We're actually, the inflation's actually outpacing the amount of funds. So we were asked you guys to look at other options that we could do to renovate and kind of meet some of those immediate needs, which I'm sure there's a lot of us who can attest that some immediate needs are larger women's restroom and men's restroom. So we were looking at that, and we've got some stuff back to show you. So we've got a restroom area in the wedge, and Donnie's getting ready to put up a picture here. And it's kind of hard to see, but Donnie, where the cursor is now, that's a classroom that's added on. So this is going to be right outside the doors here when you're looking at the playground. There's a classroom that would be good for the youth. Right underneath that, or closer to the building, is a women's restroom. And then the men's restroom words are hard today, will encompass both existing, the men's and women's existing restrooms. It'll be expanded there. So we were able to get those drawn up, and we are looking at a couple of different contractors to give us some bids for that. But that's the idea that will be put forth, and once that comes back, the elders will come back and give you guys more information so we can vote to move forward with that. That's what we want to do. All right. And then we also have some new nominations for elders. There's a couple elders coming off the board this year, and so we want to replace them. One of them is myself, and the other is Tom. So we are stepping down. Our 3 years are ending. So returning, we're going to have Larry Dyer, Jason Foster, Chris Jenkins, Bob Thole. Our nominees are Terry Roberts, Donnie Scott, and Dave Combs. So that's who you'll be voting on today. Donnie, is that the last slide? All right, so are there any questions?
Do we have the 3 here that are being nominated? And to hear maybe you should stand up.
Sure, that'll be great. Okay, the nominated elders, could please stand up. Please stand up. All right, so in the blue is Terry Roberts. I'm kind of glad that he was nominated because if elected, there's still going to be a Bengals fan on the elder board. So, we know you guys are scared of us. So, Dave Combs in here, and Donnie Scott's in the back in maroon. So, all right. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Drawings for people to see on display. I think that is a great idea. Right now, the drawing we have is like a 9x18 or something. Oh, preliminary drawing. So, okay, yeah. So once we get something a little more concrete, yeah, that's a great idea. How many elders do you have to vote on? We prefer to at least 2. But all 3 is fine. So it's going to take 3 to replace me and Tom. So what's that? Yeah. Okay. It's going to take 3 to replace Tom. So, yes. It hasn't been tabled, but it's just a little bit lower on the priority list. We felt that right now the bathrooms were a more immediate need, and then the kitchen will come out of that. And that's part of where that youth room comes in. If that part comes, the current what's being used as a youth room can become more of a multi-purpose room, and we can look at expanding the kitchen at that point. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
The funds that you're going to use to rebuild the new park that you're planning on building, what funds are you going to build?
I believe the talk was the building funds, but what funds would that be coming out of? So it would be so, and I think that's part of what it will have to be voted on later. Yes, sir.
Is the building fund specifically designated, when you bring this up, my question is it designated for a specific plan that was done, or is it for building in general? That'd be the question I want to address when the time comes.
Chris might be able to answer that. Where's Chris? He's in the back. So the question is, are the building funds, when it was set up, is that for a specific drawing plan of the buildings, or is it to meet the...
Right, when we started the building plan, or the building fund was designated for the exterior addition. Any change in that would have to be put to a vote. So yeah, nothing would come out without the congregational vote.
Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay.
And there's nothing to vote on yet because those plans still have to be signed off by some governmental authorities as well as we get a price and then we'll vote on that.
Yeah, we don't even have a price right now. That's just drawings to see what it might look like.
Sean,
Yes, in the back.
does this upgrade, so to speak, that we might have to vote on, will it include the connection to city sewer?
This part does not need to be connected to city sewer at this point. So they went to the city and because we are not necessarily changing the occupancy of the building, our current septic system was made for what occupancy could be, and so we do not have to immediately hook to the sewer.
I understand that, but I also understand that hooking up to the city sewer is, if we don't do it, we're gonna have trouble building our building.
Correct. It's not going to stop us from needing to hook up to the city sewer at some point, just like you said, but it keeps us, what's the best way to put it? Yeah, Matt's better speaker. He speak good.
I talk to people who speak good, that's what happened. So what happened was we had Danny Warner, a lot of you guys know Danny, he's a contractor, he works with pulling permits and all sorts of stuff all the time around here. And so he talked to the people who make those decisions. We were under the impression that we had to tie into the city sewer. That was a false impression because the city sewer, the capacity of our septic tank is directly tied to the seating capacity of this room. We're not adding seats to this room, so our septic can take that. We don't have to tie into the sewer. Doesn't mean that we won't at some point, doesn't mean that it's not going to be null and void, but we don't have to tie into it now. So that's not in the discussion right now for the addition out here. So that addition out here is extra bathroom seating, it's an extra classroom that meets some of those immediate needs, but that's not required permit-wise for us to tie into the sewer. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but I also feel like in doing this, we're just deferring and not moving ahead. And we need to move ahead. There are those of us who would like to help more with the building fund, but as long as you're not willing to move ahead on it, we're not gonna put money into it.
I hear your frustrations on that. Again, we have a drawing for this expansion. We have it with the people who need to sign off on it. When they're good to sign off on it and say, yes, this building will match the codes, then we'll get a price on it and we will bring that to you just as quickly as we can. But we literally got that drawing back this week, is that correct? So I'm glad that we actually could put the drawing in there, but we just got it back this week.
Any other questions that I can have Matt answer? No? Okay, Matt has something, but go ahead and place your vote.
So we have 2 outgoing elders, and one of the things that we have been doing here is a sign of thank you for serving as an elder. If you're not familiar with what that looks like, I don't want to say that too loudly because we have a couple people voted in and we don't want them to quit before they start. These guys are on call pretty much any time that anybody needs anything for prayers or for encouragement or hospital visits or taking care of just menial tasks. And so it is a lot of commitment. There's a lot of hours spent up here driving back and forth, and putting together slideshows for things without all the information that you need at an adequate time. And so we thank you guys so much. And so we just have a token of our appreciation. You have been ministers of God's word, and we want to give you God's word. So this is a Bible that just says thank you so much for serving us as an elder. So this one's for Tom. This is for Sean.
Are you saying something since you got me the large print? Oh, they don't want you to feel bad. All right, I think that's it. Are they counting up the votes? I can't remember how we do. Are they counting up the votes now? Okay. We'll pass. Well, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and say a prayer, and then that way, if you want to stick around to hear the results, you're welcome to. If you want to start going to that young at heart potluck, which smells delicious. Okay. All right. Lord, thank you for this congregation. Thank you for the work that they do to help each other, to help further your kingdom. Just watch over them as they go out into the world and just bless us with 2025. In Jesus' name.